Hello and welcome back to this damn full idealistic crusade. This is my first collection update for my Hardy Boys bookshelf that I've done in quite some time because unfortunately things have dried up locally as they commonly do with collecting the classic Stratemeyer Syndicate children's books, whether it be the Hardy Boys or Nancy Drew and beyond. It seems to kind of come and go sporadically with what pops up in local stores, but every once in a while there's a whole bunch of books that come in, and if you catch them at the right time in good shape and they're very inexpensive, sometimes you even find upgrade copies or some of the alternate cover artworks or some of the different types of the books you've been trying to collect for a long time. And then before you know it, this happens. So, needless to say, I have some copies to go over. What have I done?
I don't have space for all of these.
So first up is one of the Applewood books replica reprints. So I finally got the Applewood version of The Missing Chums, which of course has the original artwork and replicates the original spine, except with the Applewood differences. This is one of the first 5 or so that I was missing. Really, this is the only one of the first 5 books that I was missing. So this is just getting me one step closer to having all of the lovely Applewood reprints. Of course, you slip off the dust jacket to reveal the replica of the original red board of the first edition. These are the most premium, the only replica edition that exists of the original text, and they even reproduced the really nice, fancy internal front piece artwork on the nice sort of printed photo stock paper and have the original text block. And these are easily the best way to read the original text without going for a very expensive original copy that you're probably getting from an antique store, or you're paying a very, very high price for it on eBay. It's gotten a lot harder to find any of the Applewood versions floating around because when they stopped at book 16, and this was already a number of years ago, they've really dried up over the past 5 to 10 years. You can still find the first 5 or so, but even these are getting sporadic. So anytime I find any Applewood, Hardy Boys, or Nancy Drew replica, I get all excited, particularly when it's very cheap, like this was. Next, I picked up some really nice condition of the original canon, and these were simply so cheap and in such nice shape that, I couldn't say no. And also, I have been trying to get at least nice, solid picture covers of the revised text that I only have in the flashlight editions. So this is a copy of Skull Mountain, book 27. This is an early 70s printing, but still in really nice shape with just some very general light spine wear. As you can see on the actual page edges, this is always the easiest indicator that you've got a really nice clean copy when there's no damage and very little to any tanning. Of course, this is the revised text with the front piece art of the very grumpy hermit they run into who's about to behead them simply for wandering into his area. And then I've got 2 slightly later printings that while the Skull Mountain is in perfect shape, it's got a little bit of wear. These seem like they're pretty much unread. So here's a copy of book 36, Secret of Pirates Hill. Again, a slightly later printing. You can always tell by the font used. And this has the Helvetica and the updated rear cover design, and of course, listing more titles. But again, this and the next one appear like they've never been read. The actual binding and spine is still really, really tight, which I so rarely run into copies in this good of shape anymore, because most of the copies that pop up of even the late 70s picture covers, even the 80s cameo ones, are pretty beat nowadays. And then here is from the same time period, probably the same person had traded these in, a copy of 37, The Ghost at Skeleton Rock, with the beautiful revised art painting, and then the same later 70s design, but the condition is phenomenal on these. I'm pretty sure that these last 2 were unread. Next, I picked up an absurdly cheap amount of the original Wanderer Digest editions in the first art style. This ran, of course, from book 59 to 82, so the initial digest all had covers like these. I have never come across so many all at once that are in very nearly mint or mint shape. So, and these were all 50 cents or less a piece. And getting clean original digest copies, or really any digest copy, has gotten very difficult in 2023, especially at 50 cents or less. So I just went ahead and picked up all of these. And so this is a mixture of upgrade copies and just titles. I figured I would upgrade some of my own and then maybe put the others I didn't need in my trade box. But I couldn't resist coming across a whole chunk of digest at once for so cheap. So I have book 60, and this is actually a slightly later minstrel reprinting, but it does actually still have the original internal illustrations, which did not make it over to all of the reprintings. And of course, eventually they switched over to actually, some books had multiple different cover art designs depending on the era of the reprint, but all of the early original Wanderer books did get updated. So finding them all in their original first editions or early reprints with all the cover illustrations for dirt cheap does not happen. Next, they had book 64, Mystery of Smuggler's Cove. This is in pretty nice shape as well, and still has all the nice gloss on the actual book jacket, and of course has the internal illustrations. Then they had a copy of book 65, The Stone Idol. Again, this is a first printing with the illustrations in really nice shape. There's a little bit of wear on the back, but this is very minimal compared to what most digests turn up like these days. And the only thing you can't really escape is because of the age and the paper type used and the fact these are paperbacks. Even on a minty clean copy, you're going to have a little bit of browning. So it's nice to have a first edition with only a minimal amount of that. They had a minty first printing of book 67, The Outlaw Silver. Again, I was just stunned to find so many first edition Wanderer copies just absolutely mint for less than 50 cents each. So again, I just snapped up all of them. And here's a copy of a first printing of book 68, The Submarine Caper. Again, just stunning to find so many first edition Wanderers with the original illustrations in perfect shape with only a very small amount of tanning on the pages. Here's a copy of book 69, The Four-Headed Dragon, with the really striking cover painting that makes you think perhaps the Hardys, Frank and Joe, may have ingested some substances before starting said case, or that this will indeed be one heck of a mystery. Here's book 72, The Voodoo Plot. Again, absolutely perfect shape with only a small amount of edge tanning. Book 73, the beautifully titled The $1 Billion Ransom. Again, perfect condition. These are some of the cleanest digest copies I've ever seen out in the wild. So I just couldn't believe it. It was like that they all had my name on it. Next is book 74, Tic Tac Terror. I love that title. It's wonderfully awesome and slightly cheesy at the same time. This is a second printing from Wanderer, and it's when they were doing the very much brighter white for the actual page stock. So this is one of those digests you can get in really good shape that will have basically no page tanning because it's the brighter white paper stock. Same thing for book 75, Trapped at Sea. This is a Wanderer second printing, really beautiful shape, but with the wonderful clear white paper stock, no tanning, and of course stolen uranium, because this is the volume that carries the lovely... The author wishes to thank Dr. William W. Ennis for his expert advice on nuclear devices, because this is where the Hardy Boys go nuclear. But no, we're not done. They were even more clean digest. They had a couple of the second cover art designs that I hadn't gotten yet. So here is the second cover art design for 62, The Ape Man's Secret. This is one of the books that has 3 different cover art designs, so it was nice to be able to chip off getting the second design in really nice shape. And this again has the more bright white, no tanning paper stock, and still also has the illustrations. Here's the second cover of The Infinity Clue. A nice action pose in absolutely perfect shape. No illustrations, of course, because those got phased out pretty quick, but still really nice to find the second cover in beautiful shape. Then here is book 71, Track of the Zombie, with the second cover art design in the checkerboard type era. Again, really nice shape, the clear white paper stock. And this one actually does contain the illustration still. Then I picked up some more digests. These are a mixture of ones I needed and some upgrade copies as well. So this is volume 105, The Smokescreen Mystery, and a nice action scene. Pretty nice shape, just a tiny bit of spine wear, but nothing terrible. And then the rear. Then volume 109, The Primetime Crime. Sorry, couldn't resist a trailer read. Really nice shape, no damage, no real wear or anything, and just a little tiny bit of page tanning. And then jumping ahead to volume 141 of the later design, this is the Desert Thieves, with the very pop out in your face collage type stylized photo design they were going for at this time period, with the yellow spines and the sort of I don't know what you call these, the sort of file type design for actually identifying these with the lettering and such, and then the black cover background. And even this era of the digest has gotten hard to find, not beat to crap. As you can see, this does have some general wear in the corners and things, so it was still a very cheap, affordable, decent collection copy. But I've noticed this particular era, the yellow spine at this point in the mid to late 90s has gotten hard to find copies that are not pretty trashed for some reason. This particular era of the digest is the one that you find copies that are the most trashed. So that's it for my recent Hardy Boys collection finds. Just when you think your local bookstores have dried up and that you're going to have to turn to eBay to chip away at volumes you're missing, lo and behold, you walk in and find a whole stack of mint first and second printing digests out of nowhere. So you never know where they're going to turn up, whether it's a local bookshop or an antique store or just an end cap somewhere at a yard sale. They seem to turn up. So never go without peeking in that last book box or in that last area of a bookstore that you haven't gone through yet, because lo and behold, you'll run into some minty digests or something. So this has just been my latest collection finds. This is me sort of chipping away at some of the alternates I haven't gotten, some of the alternate cover artworks, and some upgrade copies. So I will be parting out some books or adding them to my trade pile. But I'm inching closer to having a complete digest collection. I'm relatively close in terms of having just a solid copy of all digests, but I would like to also complete all of the different cover arts for the first chunk of books, some of which have 3 different designs, and then some of the later digests I have in the Scholastic version, so I would like to get the actual original printings of some of those. But I'm pretty close on finishing off the digest, so I was able to finish off the case files. Now I'm working on trying to finish off the digests, and then from there I'll have to work on finishing the more modern series. But the digests are pretty much my main focus now, because technically they are the continuation of the original canon, and it's something I've never been able to do, is read all the digests. So this has just been my latest finds. I hope my babbling about the Hardy Boys and book collecting and the seemingly never-ending print variations and types and information about collecting the Hardy Boys and Stratemeyer Syndicate books in particular has been at least somewhat fun and informative. Please keep supporting your local independent bookstores wherever possible. Keep reading print books, and thank you ever so much for watching.